Welcome, welcome, business owning moms, to my coveted maternity leave planning roadmap. I am in the thick of a takeover. If you haven't listened to the previous 19 episodes of our maternity leave roadmap series, go ahead, block out some time, zoom through those things. They're all amazingly short, just like this one will be, and really tactical to help you get to the next step in planning your self employed maternity leave. So I just want to say thank you for hanging with me, for being on episode 20. I just want to commend you also for doing all of the thinking, the planning, the resource gathering, and everything that it takes to plan a self employed maternity leave. You guys know a lot of the why behind why I do this is because I had my first maternity leave with my first son. Absolute blunder. You could barely even call it a maternity leave. I had him on a Thursday and I was back at work on a Monday. Thankfully, I've always worked digitally. I was in a position where I could, have my laptop with me, but those lack of really clear boundaries or timeline or any of those things actually contributed to a lot of postpartum anger and anxiety for me. And honestly, when I got pregnant with my second son, just 9 months later, I just vowed that it would be different. And so if you are a second time mom listening, you might feel this in your bones. You don't get this time back. The first maternity leave and just postpartum period, it goes by so quickly. And if you're a first time mom listening to this, you don't get another first. I felt really grateful that my second maternity leave went a lot better and that my son, my oldest son, was still very young. So I felt like we could really bond still during that time. But I do have a lot of regrets, remorse, and all the things about really how I treated that time. And, I just didn't know what I didn't know. And it's one of the reasons why I believe, and I've done this in the past in my business, is just investing in, getting support, having a community, people that can lead you through seasons that maybe you've never personally walked through before. And so we've created that container in Bond, our coaching program. It's basically a hybrid model. So we've got our course with all the resources and the learnings and the lessons and the templates and all the things. And then we've also got our coaching calls, which are really impactful, where we actually one-on-one, I'm on there live every other week to just actually talk through some of the actual nuances inside of your business and taking maternity leave. So if you're interested, hop over to mastermaternityleave.com/bond. All of the details and everything are there. I also answer the DMs over at Master Maternity Leave on Instagram. So if you're checking out the page and you're like, hey, Allie, wondering this, that, or the other thing, send me a message, drop me a line. I'd be super excited to chat with you. It's a very intimate space and I take it very seriously. I think it's my life's most important work. So I am honored that, you would even consider like coming into the community. But one of the things, frankly, that I missed in my first maternity leave and my second, because it didn't exist, was a community of women who knew exactly what I was going through and could really speak to some of those things. So jump over mastermaternityleave.com/bond. Send me any questions that you have over at Master Maternity Leave's Instagram. And yeah, we'll get you some support in the kind of community that you need. Today's lesson and message is about implementation. So I just kind of gave you the spiel on Bond and why I created it and why it's really important, but carving out time for you to implement things. So the last 19 episodes have been about planning, thinking, really digging into the thickness of your business. The next few episodes are going to be about implementation, because I fully believe that a lot of the time, we have a challenge implementing when we lack clarity. And so I think having this experience be kind of a two-parter. The first is let's get, really clear on what exactly we want, what things we want to do inside of the business, how long we want to take maternity leave, all the questions, right, that we can answer. And then once we answer those questions, it's time. It's time where, rubber meets the road. It's time to implement. It's time to be in a position where we can set things up that actually work for us during leave. So the very first thing that I love to encourage my moms to do is to block a day. We do this inside of Bond. I block a day every single month where we invite all of our current members to join in and ask questions, and we work together and we build systems, and I send them templates and I give them guidance and all the things. But you can do this on your own. Either I love a good coffee shop too. Like the energy inside of coffee shops sometimes just helps my kind of creative juices start flowing. And I kind of get into the zone. You can rent a peer space or an Airbnb, depending on what area of the United States you are in. I'm a huge fan of peer space. You don't have to spend the night overnight, but you can go to either sometimes their homes or office spaces or any of those types of things. You can go to peerspace.com, take a look at things that are available in your area. If you have a friend or colleague who owns a physical space, maybe it's a restaurant that doesn't open until 4 o'clock, you could ask them like, hey, listen, could I come work here? The main goal though is to get outside of your normal day to day. Get outside of your office, get outside of your home, because I actually find that when it comes to implementation, it's really, really difficult to set aside implementation time when it still feels like every day, right? When you're in a position that, it feels like it's, you could easily just jump on your email or get on Slack or, go and be with the kiddos and give them snack or whatever this looks like for you in your working life. It's going to be super helpful to get a day on the calendar. So get a day. You can also register for one of my upcoming live training sessions. If you go to mastermaternityleave.com/blueprint, they are $99 for a guest seat, of course, included if you join us in Bond. But I love having that space to just get clear. So I always recommend before you go out on leave, doing 2 days of implementation. And it doesn't mean that you don't do any other implementation outside of those 2 days. But the first day I typically find is helpful to just get clearer on what. So you might have done all the activities and all the things leading up to this. And then you're like, Allie, I have a 200 task list to do. How am I supposed to get all this done? I actually think that getting clear, trimming it down, being in a position where you're nice and focused on what exactly needs to get done, having a forcing function like a community or a group, and you can do this too on your own. You can have, a colleague or a friend or a coworker, somebody come with you, your assistant, to the coffee shop, peer space type of vibe. Get those types of things done. And that'll be super helpful. The second day, I find that since you're nice and clear, you've already done things, you can kind of drop into the work a little bit faster, schedule that second day and really just knock it out. So you can do them back to back, which is really, really great. Or you can do them within a couple weeks of each other, or, one month and one the other month like we do in Bond. So block this time to get things done. If you haven't been making an ongoing kind of checklist, do that during your implementation time, or maybe block an hour in prep for your implementation day and say, hey, listen, I'm going to knock these things out. These are the really important SOPs I need to write. These are the really important systems that I need to set up. Here are the people that I need to have conversations with, or here are the people who I think could sub in for me while I'm out, or here are the roles or contractors that I need to get into the business before, I go out, and here's what that might look like. So get as granular and specific as humanly possible, and then raise your hand where needed. I mean, nobody said you had to do this alone. Of course, we invite moms every single week into our Bond program. And so that is an incredible resource to be able to lean on. But if you're looking for a person inside of your business that maybe you don't currently have, or you're struggling with building a system, post on social media, ask your community, ask your colleagues, ask your friends, and say, hey, I'm looking for this type of person. Do you know anybody who might be able to support me? Or I'm looking to build a system like this that can help bring in, these types of, buyers into my business, or whatever that looks like, who might be able to help me. And so you are not alone in this. I want to just reinforce, I felt so alone in my first maternity leave and over my first pregnancy. I literally thought nobody else had these problems. And you know what? Every single year that I do all of my work at Master Maternity Leave, whether folks hire me one-on-one, whether they jump into Bond, whether they're in our roadmap series, it's literally women all the time responding to my emails, jumping into my DMs, being like, oh my gosh, I felt this way, or I'm currently feeling this way. And you are not by yourself. A lot of women are going through the same thing that you are going through, and they are reaching out to their community now. We are opening up this conversation and pulling back the curtain, and it's probably about due time that it's happened. So I hope that you enjoy your implementation day. Again, if you want to join us at one of our implementation days and come to a maternity leave blueprint session, you can join us as a guest for $99. It is at mastermaternityleave.com/blueprint. But if you want the full breadth of our support and to jump into our community, meet the amazing moms, and jam with me every other week on planning your maternity leave, go to mastermaternityleave.com/bond. And I'll see you guys next time.